Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have been preparing for my launch of book 1, Escaping Demons, and it is on pre-order now. You can get it, and I left the link down in the description bar down below, and it will be available August 30th. Yay! I am so excited. I spent the last couple of weeks working on house plans because instead of having a map in the beginning of the book, I actually, with my husband, created like house plans of the haunted house in the book, and it is now going to be in the back of the book instead of the front. It looks really cool. Super excited, and that happened. But I am back with a new video for you. Should you use a pen name as an author? This is a question that recently I have been seeing a lot going on in Facebook and groups, and a question I've been asked on Instagram. Do I need a pen name to be an author? Or also the question of why would you need a pen name to be an author? So, a little secret, full transparency, Killian Wolf is my pen name. Yeah. So there are many reasons why an author would choose to have a pen name, and hiding your identity is not the only reason to have one. It's not the reason that I have one. So there are many more reasons than just, oh, this person doesn't want anybody to know that they're an author or who they are, okay? That's not the only reason. And I'll get into why I have a pen name in just a second. But before I start listing the reasons, can you do me a favor and give this video a like? If you are watching, go ahead, give it a like. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love giving tips on publishing and Instagram for author tips. And I have a video series coming soon. And yeah, so just do it. So recently, I came across someone who is considering going from their pen name to their real name after they have already actually published a series. And I was just like a little dumbfounded, like as in, why do you think that that is necessary? You have a series published under a pen name, and now you have full freedom to market. Emphasis on the market. That's going to be number 1 on my list of why an author would have a pen name. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to do that, a list. Okay, marketing. Do you need a pen name to be an author? Short answer, no. But marketing is a good reason to have one. And the reason why is you need to ask yourself, do you want to write in different genres? Let's look at Stephen King. Stephen King writes horror under his name, Stephen King. But he also writes crime. True crime, I think. I haven't actually read his crime books because I like horror. But if you have, then you know whether it's true crime or not. He writes under a different pen name. Richard Bachman. I'm not too sure on how to pronounce his other pen name because it is not one that I'm constantly picking up or ever, if I'm honest. I've never read one of Stephen King's other books from his other pen name, but you get the idea. And he has another pen name also, but it's not to hide from the fact that he is this other person who writes, or he doesn't want the whole world to know, because if you Google Stephen King's pen names, you'll find a list pop up. So it's not to hide from the world or keep your identity secret, but instead it's to have your books, the categories, separate, especially when you, or in his case, his publisher publishes his books onto Amazon and onto other retailers. You won't, as one of his horror readers, accidentally pick up one of his crime or true crime books by accident. You're not going to be reading about real killings, blood, and gore when you're expecting a killer clown. Stephen King is a good example. J.K. Rowling is also writing under a different pen name. Apparently, when I first started writing, I was actually writing in crime under a different pen name, and I do want to go back to that pen name. I unpublished those books, and I am saving them for later, but right now I want to focus on urban fantasy, even epic fantasy. You can have a fantasy pen name and write sci-fi, urban fantasy, and epic fantasy if you want to. You don't really need a pen name to differentiate the subgenres. But for crime, which is a lot more serious and there's no magic in it, I'm gonna go back to another pen name. Those are reasons why you may want to write in different, or have different pen names, or have a pen name, is because when you're searching on Amazon and you're searching for a particular author, don't want other books to come up for those readers. Sometimes, especially if the author may be writing erotica, you don't want to mix certain genres. You don't want somebody to buy a book thinking or expecting that they're gonna get the type of book that they read before from you and get something entirely different. And actually, you know what? Before I move on to the next thing on the list, while we're on the topic of J.K. Rowling, she wrote a book under her pen name, J.K. Rowling, called The Casual Vacancy. And if you Google it, it did not do too well in reviews. And I don't really care about reviews because everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and reviews really aren't for the author, it's for the readers. So normally my view on reviews is to ignore them. But in this case, I think that it tanked because it didn't have to do with magic. It was more of a serious book. And it's J.K. Rowling. So people picking up the book are expecting it to be a magical world. And instead they got something entirely different. I don't know when she decided to have another pen name. It could have been after that, so don't quote me on anything, but maybe. Maybe. Okay, on to the second one. I'm just gonna call this one Professionalism, for lack of a better term. Okay, and the reason why, we just spoke about marketing, and these two kind of go hand in hand, but let me just start off by saying I am an archaeologist. And I have archaeological papers. Here goes to the reason as to why I have a pen name. If I am trying to get selected for an archaeological dig, usually the crew chief or CEO of said archaeological company or cultural resource management firm will look you up on Google. They will Google your name. It's not that it's bad that I wrote fantasy books. It's not about that. But what you want to come up to the surface, even though you've already given it to them on the CV, I'm sure they're checking out academia.edu, blah, blah, blah. Still, what you want to come up is your archaeological qualifications. This is the same thing with any other profession, okay? Any scientific papers I published with other archaeologists, any papers that I have that I'm writing for the future, I want those things to come up. And at the same token, I don't want people to Google Killian Wolf and suddenly get bombarded with scientific research papers because they're not very interesting. They might have interesting titles, but trust me, when you start reading them, you're gonna snooze. That's just a scientific paper, is how it's written. And at the same time, what if I want to take my real name and write a book on archaeology, nonfiction, and put it on Amazon? I don't want it to collide with my fantasy pen name. So it's still marketing, but it's also just the professionalism. And I mean, you might not have a reason to care about that if you didn't study science, if you're not in one of those professions that those things matter and people Google your name to see what comes up as far as scientific research is concerned. But if you are, then, you know, just for also marketing purposes, you want to have a pen name. You don't want the names to clash, to collide, and to F up your algorithm, your Amazon algorithm, your Google algorithm, your anything algorithm, okay? Even Instagram. I have my author Instagram, I have my publishing company Instagram, And I have my real name Instagram that has me on archaeological sites and artifacts and stuff. The third reason is going to be, what am I gonna name it? Emergency rebrand. Now this one is sort of an extreme thing that I can take out of a hat, but I have seen it happen where an author may have slipped and wrote something with something in mind, but it was misconstrued into being something really horrible, and it became this whole thing, and now no one went on to the next book in the series because this author's labeled as a misogynist or as a this or as a that or whatever, and they just completely tanked their author career. Maybe they didn't even mean it that way. Maybe it doesn't even matter because it's a character's thoughts, but maybe it does matter because it was a nonfiction book. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there as to why the author might need a total makeover. And it is hard to do that with your personal name because you have to live with yourself and you can't hide from yourself. Okay, you can go ahead and pay like $5,000 to change your real name if you want to, but it would have been easy just to have a pen name. I'm just saying, you know, this is a reason just to protect yourself. And yeah, this is kind of protecting your identity in case of an emergency, where I know it's a stretch, but it does happen. It does happen. So what that author would need to do is to have a total rebrand, unpublish the books, have a new pen name, change all the titles, change whatever content got the person in trouble, and different covers, and start brand new. It is not the end of the world. You did not just tank your career because you can just lift it back up, give it a makeover, a rebrand. You can do this if you have a pen name. You know what? We don't even have to go that far as the person got themselves in trouble. Let's go into my crime fiction. Okay, my crime book, which I'm gonna turn into a series, needs a rebrand, and I'm changing the pen name as well because apparently the pen name that I chose sounds like an exotic dancer, apparently. I don't know. So I was getting messages on my Facebook page asking me where they can meet me in some incredibly obscene and inappropriate things. And I'm like, hello, this is a writer's, you can see on the Facebook page, author. Okay, yes, the cover was a little bit promiscuous because the book was a little bit promiscuous, but it's still crime. Okay, that is a rookie author mistake. The cover didn't really fit the crime genre. And eventually when I dive back into that book and make it a series, I will change all of that, and I'm changing that pen name too. So, case in point. Okay, so that one leads me to the identity one, finally. I know I said in the beginning that it is not always the reason why someone would have a pen name, but it is a reason why someone would have a pen name. So, let's get into that, okay? Sometimes, especially for new writers, you're not ready to reveal to the world that you're writing a book. Let's face it, most people don't understand the goals of wanting to be an author. Some people still think that it is not a real career and you cannot make an income from it. And sometimes you just want people to not know who your pen name is or that it is you. So yeah, I mean, and that's a totally perfectly okay reason. Lately, I hear negative connotations over having a pen name because of this reason, but listen, if this is your reason, I want you to know that that is perfectly okay. And now you see other reasons why it would benefit you to have a pen name. Okay, it is totally fine. Especially what the writer might be writing about. Maybe they do write erotica and they don't want the whole world to know that that's what they write. Okay, maybe they write about their past career. Maybe they write homicide and they don't want people to know for whatever reason. And I'm not gonna go on and on, but there's reasons. And there's also something freeing about stepping into a new pen name before you're gonna write. Like, you're stepping into a new identity. And it's like giving yourself permission to write about whatever the hell you want. That in itself is also a valid reason to have one. Okay, last one here. Last one, and this is a funny one because it's something that I do. So I had to put it in here because it's a little embarrassing, but it works. It works, okay? So the last one is giving yourself a break. And by yourself, I don't mean your real name. As a new writer, you might feel that way, but once you are writing full time and you are writing first thing in the morning and you're doing writing sprints, marketing stuff, admin things also for your publishing company, another writing sprint, having lunch, etc., other writing sprints. Okay, you get the picture. Eventually, you don't want to think about work. This happens to everybody, anyone, if you're a teacher, when you get home, you don't want to think about work. However, you might have papers to grade. So when you reach the weekend, granted that you don't have more papers to grade, you don't want to think about work. Anybody's job. When you want to take a break, you don't want to think about work. But when you have a pen name, your identity as that pen name becomes too much. It's everywhere. I have a Pinterest account with my pen name, Killian Wolf. I have a YouTube channel. I have Instagram accounts. I have a Facebook account. I have everywhere I look, it's Killian Wolf, and it means work. My editors will message me at night because they're in the US and I'm in the UK. So I can't just turn off at night. Sometimes it's constantly going and going and going during the weekend. If I'm playing catch up or, catching up on my word count, I'm back to being Killian Wolf. Okay. Hopefully you get the point. So when I want to switch off and I tell the world, I'm taking a break, okay, I actually go to my Pinterest and go back to my normal, regular Pinterest. I go to my Instagram and I log into my regular Instagram. I stay on my normal Facebook and I literally take a break. And it feels good. It feels like, especially Pinterest, because it's like, on my regular account, it's art and it's do-it-yourself crafty things. It's places I want to go. But on my Killian account, it's writing. You just keep scrolling and it's books and writing, which is all stuff that I love, don't get me wrong. But when it's your work, it turns into work. So it's nice to have a pen name so that you can switch off and just be yourself. Well, you're not that pen name anymore for the time being. That last one turned out to be a little bit more of a rant than I intended, so I'm sorry about that. And listen, guys, I have heard from some that their concern of having a pen name is that they don't want to have to prove who they are all the time. Okay, you don't need to prove who you are all the time with the pen name. You don't. First of all, your picture is going to be everywhere. On your website, on your social media accounts, in the back of your book. And you're not gonna have to constantly be like, oh, I am such and such, or, this pen name. You're not gonna have to do that. You're really not. But you can also go to sunbiz.org or wherever you live, however you get your company set up, and you can file for a fictitious name. That way you have a legal document to show to, let's say, Amazon. If Amazon asks you to prove that you are who you say you are, that legal document is all you need to prove that you are the pen name, or to prove that I am Killian Wolf. So I hope that debunks it for you if that was one of your concerns. And that's it. This is all I have for you today. If you have any questions or concerns about having a pen name, please leave it down in the comments and I will try my best to answer them. But that is all I have for you today. So I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye.
One life for the revolution.